the Bearded Monkey here from the Razor's Edge, and stand
Mhm.
talking to Paolo, bassist from the heavy metal titans Trivium. Welcome, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. Like I said earlier, just interviews,
Yeah,
playing music. It's good. We just got off tour, so
yeah,
kind of coming down from that. I feel like I'm like back into home mode
yeah,
finally. It took a week or so. So it's good to be back. But it was good to actually play some shows.
yeah. I mean, like, obviously, let's sort of talk about that. I mean, having so long off, I mean, like, Trivium are one of the hardest working bands, in music at the moment. You guys are constantly on tour, whether you're on
Hmm.
tour, in the States, or whether you're on tour over here. I mean, you guys are constantly at it. Uh,
Yeah.
how did that feel, kind of having that rug pull from underneath you?
Um, I think like right when it became apparent that was going to happen, we started thinking about what else we could do in place of that, aside from just like, we really started talking about doing a new record a lot earlier, pretty soon after we released the record. But we wanted to do something in between that because, you know, we knew we weren't be touring for like at least a year or so.
Yeah,
It turned out to be a little bit more than that, but we wanted to do something that kind of celebrated the new record, the last new record, What the Dead Men Say. So we did a lighter distant mirror, this big ticketed event. We got a ton of production done. We did it live. We did it live at Full Sail. They have this big kind of like it's kind of like a small arena type venue. They actually do their wrestling there. That WWE Next. That's where they film that.
oh,
So yeah, so we were able to like utilize all this like really great stuff to put on this big event, do it live. Not the same as like a normal live show, but it still felt good to actually play something. And
yeah,
then it was right into the next record, and all all along this timeline, we were purchasing and then building out the hangar that finally got done this last summer.
yeah.
In July, that we moved into, we started rehearsing there again, and it's been a crazy 2 years. Not having the touring was really it sucked not doing the shows, but like I felt like we filled it up with so much stuff that like we needed to do and that we wouldn't have ever done if we didn't have the time that we had. So
Yeah.
I view it as this sort of kind of double-edged thing where it's like we had to lose something that we really love, but we got to do something that we really needed
Yeah.
and that we're very happy one, we got this, in our opinion, one of our strongest albums to date. It's a 10th album, so we really had to kind of pull off something good for it. And then also the hanger, and then in like our personal lives, like everyone's in Orlando now.
Yeah.
Alex and I both had a kid separately. The way it was worded on Blabbermouth made it sound like we had a kid together, but no, we each have kids. So it's been a crazy 2 years, and some really good stuff happened for us. But it's very good to be back, at least trying to start the tour again. We at least got this one tour under our belts, and we're just kind of taking it as we can. Where some of it's out of our hands with like touring, so we have to kind of see. But we're trying our best, and yeah, it's been a
Well,
crazy year.
what's kind of been the have you noticed a difference in, I mean, obviously fans are generally crazy at your shows anyway, but like,
Mhm.
have you noticed a difference in the hunger from the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like our fan base has always been pretty like intense and rabid with like wanting new stuff, wanting to come to shows. But there's definitely like this like other energy that I feel like has like been reached because we had no shows for a couple years. Like we just did a show in Orlando a couple days ago. It was like our CD release. We haven't played in Orlando in 4 years. Last time we played here was great. It was a great hometown show. But like that show was maybe one of our best shows in Florida ever. And it was just like, I don't know, the energy, if it was just the room, if it was the night, but it just felt like everything was just so much more amplified, like everything with like the crowd singing, with like the energy, with like the circle pits. It was just,
Yeah.
it felt like, we're all in a way, we had this thing that we all love, that we all need, live music, taken away from us for a bit. Rightfully so. I didn't want to lose shows last year, but there's no way we were going to tour last year. I wouldn't want to like put our fans in any
Yeah.
extra danger that than they needed to be in. And So it felt like this was like a celebration of getting back to some of that, and being able to let off some steam and having that channel for energy that only a live show can give you.
Yeah. That's how like, and it's I suppose it's one of those things where you just I suppose I suppose it's relief, isn't it? Like,
Mhm.
to be back doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Trivium have built such a big legacy for yourselves, really. I mean, like, you're a band that, like, you're not afraid to experiment and try new things, but obviously still keep, to yourself, to yourselves,
Yeah.
and obviously the metal niche and that sort of thing. How do you keep yourself so current and keep listeners coming back?
I mean, it's always kind of that like I feel like this is sort of like every band has this thing of like, do you kind of stick to one thing you do and do the same thing every time, or do you kind of experiment
Yeah,
and try new things? And I think, if you take every single record we've done, I feel like we've never left the genre of metal. I don't
yeah,
think we've ever had the care to do that. I don't think we had aspirations to be like, okay, well, we built up something with this, and now we're parlaying that into becoming like a mainstream rock band, or, whatever, a pop act or whatever it is. And I
yeah,
just like, we've never had that desire, but we always have wanted to keep pushing ourselves. I think we had a couple years where we were kind of like, the real high of the early days of like the Ascendancy and Shogun and in Waves were kind of like, that was, a real peak for the first 10 years of our band. But I think like you kind of go through a thing of like, we're not a new band anymore. We're not really a nostalgia band. You're kind of this in between thing. And like, kind of going through trying to find new things to do. I think Vengeance Falls and Silence in the Snow were sort of this transitionary period for us of like, is there anything else out there that we can try to do? And can we work with new people to see if anything can
yeah,
be a little different? And, I kind of felt like going through that while also kind of trying to find, because Nick left after Vengeance Falls. And so we had kind of like a drummer sort of, fallout at that point where we just really didn't have a steady guy at that point. So it was like this whole thing where I feel like our whole career and even the musical side of things was like we are in this transition. We
yeah,
were kind of working through it, and then Sin in the Sentence was like our kind of like, that was the turnaround. That was like where we kind of turned the corner finally, and it felt like, okay, we got our bearings again and we know where we're kind of going towards. And I feel like the last three records have been, we can deliver a certain intensity and sound, and that like the expectations people have from us, we can deliver on those while still pushing ourselves. And, if you think Sin was good, well, we wanted What the Dead Men Say to kind of level it up a little more, and then this new one to go a little bit further, and I think the consistency within the band and sort of just our like, we're very focused. We know what Trivium does well and
yeah,
how to kind of push boundaries within, this sort of thing we've built. We don't have to go so far outside of it to like impress people. It's
yeah.
all about like, one, making songs we love that make us feel something, and then, giving it to the fans and hoping that they feel the same.
Yeah, I mean, because that's kind of the thing, really. Because Trivium, you appeal to the die-hard metal fans, but obviously at the same time, the mainstream audience all know who Trivium are, and I
Yeah.
suppose that comes to the success, really. How hard is it to appeal to both audiences?
Um, I mean, I think our mindset was never to kind of close ourselves off to like, you know, the outside world from like metal.
Yeah,
But like playing festivals, playing with other bands that maybe aren't like hardcore or like super metal,
yeah,
that was always something that was very important. Like here in America, you know, Vengeance Falls and Silence were actually really integral to us breaking into kind of almost a whole new audience here in America,
yeah,
with like a little bit of radio play and a little bit of festivals that we normally wouldn't play before. And it got us to like people that like want the kind of music we play, but just don't know how to find it maybe
yeah,
any other way. And so, we're just always out looking for like new people to kind of bring into the fold, as opposed to like changing our sound to kind of get people into us. It's like we just have to go to people. We have to go to where they are, or their cities. We have to go to their festivals. We
Yeah.
got to always be open to different things like, streaming online and stuff like that. We were kind of there a little bit earlier than a lot of bands. So, we were like ready when like everything shut down. That was kind of an easy transition for us to kind of go really, really into that.
Yeah.
And, finding ways for our music to kind of be like put in front of new people, whether it's games, whether it's like the festivals, all these things. It's like we don't close ourselves off to anything.
Yeah.
But we just realized we didn't have to like change the music so much. We could be who we are, and people will like that. There's a lot of people that really do want like heavier music. It's just, you got to get out in front of them and show them like, hey, we're here. And, you probably have been looking for this, but maybe your stations weren't playing it, but here we are.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, it's like when the last time that I saw you, it was you played Bloodstock. You headline Bloodstock.
Oh wow.
I mean, obviously, which was a good few years ago now, and obviously that the Bloodstock audience was that die-hard metal audience.
Yeah.
And it was so funny to sort of look around, and like you've got the Trivium fans, but then you've got the diehards trying not to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think we've really cracked that. I think the one thing I feel like for us is like we've reached this point where like, we're one of those bands that like we're not like purely in the underground, but that the underground, not everyone, of course, but like a lot of people do like what we do and understand that we pull from so many genres into our own thing. Yeah. And we do it with proficiency that like is credible. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, especially with Alex now, I mean, he's such a phenomenal drummer, and like he can do so much extreme stuff that I feel like even the most like grizzled elitist like metal dude, like it's undeniable. Like if you see him playing with us, you're like, that guy is shredding right now. And and I think our songs, like maybe in the early days when we're a young band and we're being presented a certain way, like maybe you don't want to get into it, but I think it's easier now for people to be like, what, I actually kind of like that, and it's actually good, and they're a great live band. And so we've changed a lot of opinions, and sometimes it takes time to get a band. I understand that because I'm the same with other stuff too. I'm like, sometimes I don't get a band right away, and then years later I'm like, I like this now. And it's kind of, it is what it is. But it is cool that we've never shied away from that. I'll say one thing I'm very proud of is like we've always kind of gone into the lion's den with that kind of stuff, where we could have gone the easier route, playing with Slayer, playing with Machine Head, playing with Iron Maiden. Like those are not easy fans to be in front of, especially in England, especially in Europe. Like that is not easy touring, and it taught us a lot of stuff and kind of toughened our skin up for being able to put up with things and just, learning how to deal with it. But then I think it's made us a lot more respected because of it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about In the Court of the Dragon. I mean, obviously, as you sort of mentioned earlier, it's your 10th album, released on the 8th of October. How do you feel listening back through that record, and kind of what's the reaction been like to it? Has it been kind of what you wanted?
I mean, it's definitely been the reaction I always hoped that any record would have. But I did feel if like people liked the last record that they were going to like what we were doing. But I mean, I think the positivity and like the impression has been, wow, they really went beyond what I was expecting. I think we shocked people that we had a new record so soon. But I think we shocked them even further that we kind of topped it in a lot of ways. And, I was just really hoping people would like the music as much as we liked, writing it and making it. And, just really could tell that we put the amount of time that we did into this, having the detail of, all the orchestrations, all the kind of proggy bits that like, just takes a little bit of extra time to rehearse and to write to kind of get them down.
Yeah. I like kind of how you throw little sort of compliments to, obviously you can hear your influence, you can obviously hear the Trivium sound, but I like how every now and again you throw like a little nod to kind of like I get like a slight Pantera vibe to
Mm.
Court of the Dragon, and it's kind of like your little nod going, yeah, that's what we like, but this is us. This is how we've evolved it and kind of done our own thing with it.
Yeah. I think it's almost like, we've all been listening to so much music all these years and stuff, and it's like stuff that's part of like our DNA, and but it's like knowing like how to like pull from all those things you love and how to like make it work within a song, like, okay, we got this kind of heavy breakdown part. And it's like, how do you make this part interesting, and how do you like, go from part to part and like not make it feel like you've just like really just hitting in the same thing over and over again. And like, so a part like that, it's like it sounds like less complex than it actually is, because like every single part is a key change. The one part has this sort of chromatic thing that, like you said, is almost kind of this Pantera kind of vibe to it, when then it shifts back into like the original thing, but now a key higher. And so like just years and years of like practicing and playing, like writing records, learning tricks, and then like, going into the part where it just changes feel all of a sudden. Now we're playing with this kind of solo thing. And to me, like that's like the quintessential Trivium, is like having that fun with it, like for me, that's like, it's so fun to write that kind of stuff that I feel like the funness of writing it translates into the funness of hearing that like, okay, these guys are really like putting a lot of effort into it. You can tell they're just like having a good time, not thinking about this needs to be a radio single or anything. It's just doing what they do best. And it seems like, it seems obvious now, but it's like, when we have fun with what we're doing and not overthinking it, seems to be the best results for us.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you're at your point in your career now where, like, Roadrunner especially, like, will kind of let you do what you want to do, rather than you having to sort of be around what they want to do, and that sort of thing, and the way they see pushing the band forwards and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of trust from the label, that we've been around so long, but also like we've always been so hands-on with like what we do and how we present ourselves. And I think every record has been more and more. And as we've really delivered for them, the trust for what we're going to do is always higher. So like doing a record so quickly to the last, I don't think a new band would maybe have the level of sway to make it happen. But Roadrunner's like, okay, well, these guys always seem to deliver what they say they're going to deliver. They know we're not going to like go out there and just pull a fast one on them. And I feel like we lived up to our end of the bargain, and that's part of it. It's just the trust and stuff. And we've been on Roadrunner now for a long, long time. I mean, we re-signed to Roadrunner. We actually finished our original deal, which is like crazy. I think we're actually the band with the most albums on Roadrunner at this point. This record put us over the top. If you don't count Max Cavalera with Soulfly and Sepultura, if you count individual bands, we have the most by far.
Awesome, man. I mean, I think kind of one of the big successes of In the Court of the Dragon is the incredible artwork that comes with it. But obviously created by the renowned artist Matteo Naziris.
Yes.
What was your reaction when you first saw that artwork?
I mean, when I even saw the sketch, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Because like, you go through his Instagram, you can see the level of quality. So I knew it was going to be impressive, but I still wasn't ready for just how grand of a painting it was. And just, even just like getting the painting, it inspired like what the rest of the look of the packaging and all the color schemes that we were going to really pull from were going to be, and what the videos would like look like and what they would be like. And having this like central piece that was just so important. And I think we needed something to fit this music that was really epic, really grand. And, this guy is just like, it's not a lot of guys doing this kind of painting, doing this kind of work anymore. It's very hard. Very time consuming. So, when I saw it, I was just like really blown away. And I was like, this is exactly what I was hoping for, and it was really pleasing to see.
I mean, because obviously the artwork has actually been on tour itself, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah. It's still over in England at this point. I think we're shipping it back over pretty soon.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but
it was at Bloodstock that I saw it. It was in the
Bloodstock had
gallery.
it in the gallery, and then it went up to Birmingham for Digibrew did like this special cool event where fans got to hear the new record like 2 weeks in advance. There was a special beer that was brewed. It was like up in the art gallery so people could see it.
Yeah.
It's just been a really cool thing to be able to kind of show off. And it was just really timing wise perfect because we did the first video was shot in England. So we were able to kind of do a couple events based around it. So that's been actually really fun to be able to pull off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like obviously you guys do a lot of collaborations, and kind of talking about collaborations, let's talk about your team up with Elder Scrolls Online, the music video for the Phalanx. So how did the collaboration come about, and kind of who would you like to collaborate with in the future?
Yeah. So I think with like Bethesda, there was kind of like a sort of a collaborations and talks and stuff before. I think just a little bit through Roadrunner. Matt has like, done some stuff on his Twitch with them before with like Doom and stuff like that. So there was kind of like the talks were there, and then it became like a thing with, hey, it'd be cool if you guys did like a new song for this game that we got coming out. And then we were like, well, we have a new record actually. So it'd be cool if you guys like any of the songs you think they would fit, let's do something with it. And so that was kind of how the ball got rolling with that. And so we got to really be a part of the whole launch, the whole release. It's been really cool because, again, it's like going out to find fans in different places than the usual spots, like the festivals or even just regular press and different things like that, where you can always find people that are interested in that, but this is like finding people interested in something else and showing them what you do and also how it appeals to them or how it could appeal to them or how the cross section of gaming and metal can really work. And so it was really fun to be able to do. And, I'm happy they asked us, and I hope, in the future we can do more collaborations. I'm sure there'll be something at some point. And, I'm always open to those things, and we are always open to those things. And now that we have the hangar, we can kind of pull off a lot more stuff because we have our space. And so, if we ever need to pull something off for someone, like say a live performance or a music video or whatever it is they need from us, very, very easy now. And we got the space, and, we're just always looking for those other things to do. I feel like Metallica has always been so good with that, where like, it's like they're already a big band, but they always find a way to like be a part of things and almost kind of transcend like even the genre. Metallica is above just metal just because they're just like, they're everywhere and anywhere, and they're always willing to kind of go and find something cool to be a part of. And so, of course, for us, we're inspired to, do what we do what we love, never forget your roots of what you do, but also be willing to step outside and, do something like the collaboration with a game like this and have fun with it.
Do you think we'll ever have a talking about Metallica? Do you think we'll ever have an S&T rather than S&M?
Oh yeah. You never know. I mean, like I said, we got that hangar space. Maybe we'll invite an orchestra down and we'll pull something off cool with that. I think it would definitely be fun to do something. Yeah. I mean, again, if the opportunity presents itself, it's something we'll try to rise to the occasion and pull off if we can.
Definitely. Well, I'm throwing that gauntlet out to anybody because I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to rearrange some of the music to fit it.
Definitely. I mean, obviously we've sort of mentioned about so Matt's obviously a big gamer and has been successful using Twitch. Do you play many games yourself? And if so, what are you currently playing?
I played a couple today. I was a little bit with Matt actually. Yeah. Played a little bit of Call of Duty today, Warzone. I've been really into that. So that's what I've been playing. Obviously, I have a newborn now, so I have to have gaming's a little bit on the back burner. So most of my streaming is still music at the moment, but every now and then I'll pop in for some gaming. Touring, me and Matt did a lot of gaming after the show. We had our laptops out. So that was a kind of a different way to close out a show because we couldn't really do much outside of playing the show because they was really kind of closed off backstage. So was nice to just kind of game a little bit before hit the bus, hit the hay. So yeah, gaming is a kind of like a natural thing to our band. So I didn't feel like, oh, none of us play games and we're all doing all these like gaming related things. It's like that's part of our kind of our thing that we do, and people know that we're into them. So it's kind of cool when we can do collaborations and stuff. And last night we actually did a charity event for Twitch. We were the headliner of this like 2-day long raid to promote like Music Cares, which is like this big music charity thing for like out of work roadies and stuff. So, you know, we're trying to we're pretty much like now with Twitch and stuff kind of integrated into that whole thing, you know, and you know, any day during the week you can pop on and probably see one of us doing something.
Yeah. Do you guys spend much time together when you're not on the road?
You know, now of course everyone in Orlando, everyone's here. So rehearsals are definitely, I think, going forward, always going to happen at least weekly, if not like bi-weekly, depending on people's schedules. But you know, with the newborns and like with COVID and stuff, we definitely tried to be a lot more careful with stuff. But I think now, you know, like a couple days ago, we kind of had a get together over at Matt's place, kind of celebrate the new record. You know, we're always trying to hang out and do stuff. We're all good friends. We don't have any weird things. I think it's also like why our band like has been successful and has remained like long term, like a band that's been able to exist and tour and not go crazy, because you know touring can drive you insane, you know, and if you have a problem with someone, you know, going out on the road with them is not going to solve it. So that's it will expose a lot of fractures and tensions, and you know, we deal with anything that ever arises, but we really don't have any issues. And I mean, you can see on our socials, we're always out on days off. We're always having drinks, having meals, taking the crew out some nights too, you know, having good vibes. That's it. Good vibes on tour only.
So I'll never forget back watching through. Oh, what was the Lamb of God DVD?
Oh, Philadelphia, maybe, where he like punches them.
Yeah, with Mark Morton.
Yeah, that was up in Glasgow, I think. It was at the ABC Club or the Cat House or something like that. One of those venues. That's where he knocked him out.
Yeah,
the famous knockout.
Yeah. I mean, like, kind of looking back through your whole back catalogue, what is your favorite song to play?
Oof, that's like so tough. I mean, one of my favorite songs, and you know, it's like an obvious choice, is definitely In Waves for writing. That was one of my favorite songs to write. One of my most surprising ones for myself, like that I was able to come up with like the parts. But like live, there's a level of energy that we're able to pull out of a crowd, even if they don't know us, with that song, which I think is kind of the mark of something special, because there's like it's very easy to get into. It's very easy to know like what's being done. There's like a repetition to it that makes it like just connect with people that we don't even know, you know, people that don't know Trivium that well. And like, it's always a fun one to play. Like maybe in rehearsal, you know, Pull Harder, In Waves. Okay, we've played these songs a million times. Maybe it doesn't have the same excitement, but when you get a crowd out there, I mean, it's like, yeah, this is a fun one. I still feel good playing this. It never gets old seeing people just kind of jumping up to that first big In Waves part.
Yeah. I suppose it becomes your paranoid at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not a bad thing to have, you know, when you have, I mean, big singles, big songs, like they can almost transcend a record. Cause like, I feel like there'll be songs from records that aren't like the best record, but like, if you have a big song from that record, it's like, it almost doesn't even matter because that song has gone so far beyond. And I mean, I feel very good that like, no matter what, every song, or excuse me, every record has had a song that's like connected, maybe if not on the level of Pull Harder or like In Waves, like we always have a song that's like seems to get out there and get to people and make people like interested in what we're doing. And that's how we've kept going. That's how you get to 10 records. You got to like put everything into the music. I mean, first and foremost, music, everything else after that is secondary.
Well, I mean, like, sort of point at that point. Now, I mean, like, obviously, you guys, 10 albums in, you guys have toured everywhere pretty much that you can tour. You know, what's next for Trivium? You know, what's kind of on your list that you still need to achieve?
I mean, I would love to be able to like headline the tour we just did. You know, I look at the Megadeth Lamb of God co-headlining
Yeah,
package and just how big the show was. Just it makes me realize how much bigger everything is than you think it is. You think everyone knows your band, but
yeah,
really there are a lot of people out there that don't know who you are. And I mean, in some ways it's never been easier to find new music, but it's also easier to get lost in the mix because
yeah,
there's so much out there, so much noise to cut through. So I find it to be like not in like a bad way, like uh, you know, you're always starting from the bottom every time you come out with a record and trying to find new people. But I'm like, it is kind of a thing where you have to think there is always someone out there that doesn't know you, you know, whether it's a young kid, whether it's someone older than you know, or whether it's a fan that maybe lost touch with you guys.
yeah,
You got to always be out there and know that like it's never a finished task until the day we're like, this is the last show we play.
yeah,
It's never going to be like, this is it. This is the peak we're getting to. You know, you have to kind of fight to know and think that there's more out there. And I think if we never had that mindset when we had our lower points, I think we would have maybe not continued because, you know, if you think the best days are behind you, that's not a really motivating feeling. And I don't feel our best days are behind us. I feel like we've had some amazing days in the past. And I feel like this record just feels like already something special. And
yeah,
you know, we got time to tour it. And you know, I think if you go back like years and I'm asked me like, oh, do you think like, you know, you got more to prove with music, you know, and I don't know, like 5 years or 5 records later, like saying we're gonna release this one.
yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's kind of cliche to be like, you know, we always want to do better and we think the best is ahead of us. But I mean, in a lot of ways, you know, 5 records ago was maybe I think like In Waves or Vengeance Falls, and like, you know, I always felt like, yeah, we can be better, we can do more,
yeah,
and I feel like it feels good to kind of like actually be able to do it, like to get to album 10 and have people be like, I can't believe album 10 is going to be one of my favorites from this band, you know, and that feels good because I feel like not a lot of bands get to our point in general 10 records, but then get to 10 records and make people be like, wow, I love this. This is better than I even thought it could be. And that's an exciting place to be.
yeah, definitely. Well, Paolo, thank you so much for chatting with us here at the Razor's Edge. If you haven't heard In the Court of the Dragon, it's out now. Please go and check it out. It's amazing. Have that as my review.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Nice one, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.